GSL.
What's up, guys? Tastosis is back, and we're going into our second best of three, Super against Innovation.
That's right. Innovation, definitely one of the very best characters in the world, but Super has come up as one of the best Protosses right now. It's really impressive. This guy was like a very mediocre pro gamer for years and years and years. He's been around forever. This was MVP Vampire back in the day. And here he is, and he's actually playing really damn well. His PvP is quite solid. His PvZ is actually one of the best PvZs in the world right now. He's a very pressure-oriented player in the matchup. His PvT, though, I'm not feeling it.
You're not feeling it?
Like, he beat Fantasy and SSL to move on. He did the same build every game. It was like a pretty good build, but like, I don't feel like he's very reactive. He's like, how does he play? How do I explain?
Would you say
he
it's more
bludgeons people. He bludgeons them with Protoss
Oh,
units.
I see. Like
he gets 2-2 and he's like, you know what?
Out-muscles them in a very specific period of time.
Yes.
Crushes them, but he's not somebody who's developing.
He's not like a Rain or a Zest or
Yeah. He doesn't have well-rounded play, but he definitely knows that 2-minute timing where he can, sucker punch the guy out of the game.
He does a pretty good job of like getting back into games and stuff, but like from what I've seen of his PvT lately, like he'll misplace buildings sometimes and like drops will kill him, and like his drop defense is not really the best. His observer placement isn't really the best, but then he'll make like a bunch of Immortal Zealots and Archons and stuff. Just like, I don't know, I guess I kill you. So,
well, let's see what Innovation has in store for us. I was saying this about 2 years back, that Innovation is the best player I've ever seen play. He was so perfect. That was the period where he would just calculate how far ahead he was and then do an all-in. Not like a timed out all-in like he's planning to do it this game, but he'd be like, okay, I've built enough. I'm going to pull on my SCVs and end this guy. And it was incredible. We just didn't see strats or playstyle like that was making people champions, but this guy was one of them.
Well, he's definitely still one of them. This guy is like, he's so good. Now he's back on SKT1, one of the best teams at raising players and making them super strong. So I think that he's always going to be one of the best players in the world. Looks like our map pool: Overgrowth, Catalina, King Sejong Station. Looks like a pretty decent pool overall. Catalina going to be a little bit tough for Super. I don't like his chances there that much.
Keep in mind, although Artosis, I think your points are right about how Super plays, he's had a lot of time to prepare.
Yes, yeah.
So there's a chance that he'll have some fantastic strats we weren't anticipating.
Yeah.
I imagine coming from Innovation, just some very basic, well-rounded play.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see anything too fancy. We're not going to say, well, what's this strat? We've never seen this before. I think we're going to say, oh, he's doing this strat we've seen 1,000 times before, and he's doing it better than anybody else ever has.
Well, I think that's why he's going to beat Super right there.
Yep, I can't
Super
disagree.
has his own play styles. He has his own build orders. He actually does. Like, this guy doesn't do... Like, everything I watch Super do, I have to put on a separate page because he just plays different than other players. So
we have a small delay, and when we're ready to go, we'll go. But for the time being, we have a little bit more time to kill. There was a complaint about the lighting, actually, that the lights needed to be dimmed in his booth. Magic of TV, we do have a bunch of lights around these guys so you can see their faces.
I wish my lights were dimmed right now.
Man, I feel like when I walk into the grocery store and I feel like all my acne is suddenly visible again.
You know, one season we actually had lights so bright here that we couldn't see where the camera
This was something funny because when I would review our cast, occasionally I'd see myself like looking like up like this. But anyways, he had to get the lights dimmed. So obviously this not just being a TV show but a tournament, we're going to do whatever we can to make his this round for him as comfortable as possible.
Here's something he's not going to do. He's not going to play in the dark with a keyboard that glows like a rainbow.
It looks like we are basically ready to go. We got the lights dimmed, and we're going to go back to this game here. So anyways, this is game number 1 here, Super against Innovation. The winner goes on to play off against Solar.
That's right, and I think both these guys have pretty decent chances against Solar. It's really hard actually to say exactly who's going to get out of this group. I mean, I originally predicted Innovation 100%, Solar most likely.
Hart is playing a lot better than we thought he'd be playing today.
Yeah, Hart, I don't think he can kill Innovation. I think that's out of the question, but I think that him against Super could be, you know?
All right, so we have those lights dimmed. Innovation can see just fine.
Still seems pretty bright in there to me, Tasis.
The map is going to be Overgrowth here, and let's see what Super's got in store. I mean, he's really the one I'm looking at more. Protoss has always historically lended itself to more flexibility with playstyles, some not as good as others, but there's certainly, and this goes all the way, this predates even Brood War, just in basic StarCraft vanilla. There were a few tricks Protoss always had up their sleeve they could dish out, and that's why you gotta be prepared with your Terran going against this, even if you're a player like Innovation.
Indeed.
In the upper right, in the red, he is. Super. Okay.
Invasion Super.
And in the bottom left, in the blue.
SK Telecom T1 Innovation.
Alrighty. I'm excited to see what these guys are going to do. Not as much for Innovation, because I think you're right. I think he's going to do like very basic, normal stuff. But I wonder if Super, like every game against Fantasy, he opened up with a 1 gateway expansion with no scouting.
Uh-oh, GSL pin.
And it was, uh-oh. But I wonder if he's going to open with these same
I felt like we should have had something more epic there. Like, wait a minute, is his pin glowing? Then we get a shot of him in the booth, and he's like, "Ah!"
Super Saiyan type.
We go back in game. Somehow there's already 8 Marauders killing Super stuff. We're like, he's so good! StarCraft is magic and not a strategy game.
It's magic. He just has more magic than his opponent. How are you supposed to be
he wanted it more.
Yeah.
He just got mad
The
at it more.
fans cheered loud enough. He had 8 Marauders. Sorry, that's not how reality works.
I remember back in the Brood War days, I talked to people who really kind of talked about StarCraft like it was just pure magic. Like, how did he
Actually,
suddenly had 20 mutas, and I'm like, well, I mean, he did have 2,000 gas banked up. He's like, how did he get 20 mutas, though? I'm like, well, I mean,
you want to hear some real talk?
Inspire finish, yeah.
I appreciate the people for whom StarCraft is magic more than I appreciate the people who think that they actually understand the game much deeper than they actually do.
Oh, well, there's
those people annoy me.
An infinite number of faceless nerds on the internet that claim to be
the greatest.
Experts. Yeah, the greatest. I've got it solved. I just understand it so well.
Yeah.
And
I just don't have the time to practice.
And if I wasn't playing and going to school at the same time, I'd be a champion too.
It's like, no, you wouldn't be.
No, man.
Well, so far this is the same play that we saw. This is actually like looks exactly like what we saw Fantasy against Super in the SSL, because every game Fantasy went Command Center first, and every game Super didn't scout, went for a 1 gateway expansion, and would go into Blink second gateway, not second and third, but just second gateway in a robo into Colossus Tech in a third base. And if we see him do exactly that here, like I'm surprised and impressed that Innovation's gone for Command Center first, because it's actually good against the build that Super has shown us time and time again.
But it's also interesting he just went for that, considering that Super is probably going to be the player who is a bit more unpredictable here.
Yeah. And doesn't go directly in that Twilight. Going to grab a robo right away, so we'll see what he goes with this. But, like, I guess what I want to say is right now you have to give a tiny lead to Innovation.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, CC first against someone who just expands into robo. That's a small lead for Terran.
It certainly is. Well, we just have bits and pieces of the map being cleaned up here for Super. And let's go ahead and see where Super brings the game from here.
Yeah.
Because this is certainly not the way he would have wanted this game to start out, at least. I really felt like if we were going to see Super win this, and he's getting a Twilight Council, by the way, I was pretty sure if we were going to see Super win this, he'd have to start out with some kind of a lead, and that would have been caused by Innovation playing in a conservative manner.
I do want to point out one thing. I don't want to be overly critical of Super, but I do want to point out where he put his tech buildings. put his tech buildings below the Nexus as opposed to over towards the top left. And in like every super PvT I've seen, people drop and kill his tech.
Yeah.
And so I just want to throw that out there as something that, like, I actually think that would be an improvement for any Protoss, is to put your tech as far away from drops as you possibly can.
I mean, sometimes it is just the little things that count, you know?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, a misplaced building whoa, who had a little kitten cough? Was that you?
Excuse me, I'm a sick baby penguin. Can you just spare me some cheese, please?
No, but sometimes just a misplaced building can cost you the game. I mean, they drop it, they kill off a building that's an upgrade, and from there on out, even if both players are playing perfectly, hell, man, you lost that upgrade, and it lost you the game.
This is basically, by the way, what he was doing against Fantasy. It's like slightly different ordered, but it's 2 gateways and Blink and Colossus tech, and it's like very safe. Just to throw that out there, but it doesn't, like, there's no pressure for him to put on. You know, it's Innovation went Command Center first, so no matter how you look at this, Innovation has a bit of a lead. Ah, there we go. This is something different.
2 forges. So he'll probably be turtling and powering for a while here. Most likely will not be expanding, since that would make him so vulnerable, especially to somebody like Innovation, who is just very reactionary. He'll be more aggressive if he sees you have more bases.
Yeah.
Now, I think Super's good enough to hold 2 bases no matter what, but we've seen people like Innovation, just with good drops, dismantle these guys.
One thing I want to point out that you were very good about mentioning before this this game started is about Innovation's SCV pulls. He was killing every Protoss with good SCV pulls.
Yeah.
And SCV pulls is actually...
He was killing like lots of Terrans with that, too, which was weird.
But specifically against Protoss, that's, I guess, the one that you see it by far the most against, right?
Sure, yeah.
And the reason why SCV pulls kind of went out of fashion a little bit, not that they're completely out of fashion for anyone that plays ladder, you know that, but they aren't as good anymore because they really kind of countered Double Forge, because Double Forge like makes your storm so much later, and like you just kind of kill them.
And even though that they have a lot of bulky, beefy units with a Double Forge, just the number of SCVs they're shooting down before they can actually get to your units.
Yeah, so we see someone going Double Forge against the ultimate boys puller. You know? So just something to mention here that could go wrong for Super at some point. But, you know, people have kind of counteracted the power of SCV pulling in some ways with Blink Stalkers.
Every single Stalker here pretty badly bruised. And this third base is a little bit quicker than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried here for Super.
Yeah, that's a very quick third, but Innovation did just go 3 racks into his third, so he doesn't have as many. Like, if he had gone 5 racks, this would die instantly. He'd probably just win the game, but he might be able to hold it. It's possible. See what his micro's looking like and if he's in position. Right now, he's not in position.
Now, he could just stem and just target down the Nexus and leave, and I think that's what he should be doing here. And I don't... Okay, he's actually going to try to engage there.
Ooh. Good Colossus volley.
Yeah, and he has to back up, but there's more reinforcements on the way.
He's being rather brave with how far out he's going. But he picks off more units, so hey.
Okay, he's going to loop back around here behind the gold base and regroup. 116 supply to 114. So they're basically even, but 1-1 is about to finish for Protoss.
Yeah. Innovation's +1 armor about to finish too, so that'll be even on upgrades. And Super already going into Immortal tech here. Like, you don't see this guy upgrade Storm too often in this matchup. He likes to get a bunch of Immortals. He likes a very heavy Gateway army and a lot of upgrades. So we see him going into 2-2, mixing in the Immortals. He's going to have a ridiculously strong army that Innovation's going to have to deal with. And in fact, even adding those sentries, this is very, very Super-esque, this PvT.
Well, he still has this army over here. He sent 1 scouting Marine in to the second to take a peek and see what was up there. I don't believe he can engage there. Yeah, he's going to have to back up. I don't think he's going to get any good force fields off to trap that.
Yeah.
And he'll regroup again. It's going to be a little bit tough for Protoss to take a 4th anytime soon. And map control is going to Terran right now. So it's really up to Super to have the good defense and figure out a way to move around the map. I believe Innovation is actually tearing down the rocks here to allow better circulation for his army between the second and the 2 avenues to the third.
Yeah, very true on that. He does need to do that as well. He can't just keep attacking from the same angle. He'll never get anything done. But that's another kind of interesting thing. Wow, like Super actually just plays kind of the same every time in this matchup, I have to say. This is really looking... I rewatched those VODs this morning, and it's like very apparent that this guy, this is how he plays this matchup.
Nice snipe, by the way, on the Observer. Always scan your army when you're in this position as Terran, because you can pretty much guarantee there's an Observer somewhere around you. That's the only way Protoss is going to be able to defend, is by having a rough idea of where your army's at so they can get their Colossi in good position. So what's pretty smart about this is just gunning down that one Observer. It interrupts the Colossi Immortal production if he wants to get another Observer out here. One scan comes over here, and he sees the exact position of the army. And this is going to make Super pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah, but that is a scary army, too. That's a lot of sentries in there, more than you normally see in an army like this late in the game. A lot of Immortals in there as well. It's like a funny composition to deal with because there's no High Templars. Because normally you'll see either like 5 Colossus or 3 Colossus and High Templars. So
whoa! He's actually going to full on engage here. Really aggressive with these blinks is Super. He's got to be careful too. But you know, Super, as we were talking about before, he's definitely a guy who gets a certain level of upgrades and wins oftentimes with a very powerful timing that usually bludgeons. Yeah. Well, it's a wrecking ball.
Some pretty darn good force fields right there. These Vikings will take out those Colossi, but not before they deal a lot of damage to this army.
3 Immortals still in the back here. Means with this basic ground army, I think he just rocks over and kills Innovation.
Yeah, you're pretty much right. This is like exactly how he wins games. He eventually loses his Colossus and just has a bunch of Immortals and like has this really scary ground army with 2-2.
We have landed Vikings here. Oh! Okay, not enough energy here. He could have trapped that. Still, it was a thought that count.
No, I don't think that's true.
It was the idea that could have been the case. So he's just continuing to chew through this. I mean, these are Vikings on the ground, guys, and there's Immortals here, Zealots, Stalkers, Sentries.
A trap DT.
Yeah, 1 trap DT. Archons now. This is going to be the GG moment.
Well, Super plays exactly how he showed his games against Fantasy. And based on that, I would say 100% he's going to play pretty much just that. Like, maybe he'll mix in cheese, but I feel like this is just exactly how he plays this matchup. So, Innovation, if he can't adjust to that, that's an issue.
Yes.
And, like, the thing is, no one really plays like that, so to say exactly how to adjust is a little bit hard, but I think it has to do with turtling. Because he's really making, like, this ground pounder army. It's very scary. Because it's got like a lot of damage output, right? He's got a lot of force fields he can use, and enough blink stalkers you can't get too fancy with your medevacs. So
yes, very true.
I feel like you have to kind of back up and play a bit more turtly. You know, you can play like a turtle tear and make planetary and stuff like that. So,
well, let's see if Innovation can shift gears here. Super looks very strong. And Innovation kind of with a funny expression on his face here.
Yeah.
He is going to have to play a different beast of a game here in game number 2 if he wants to win this. I think Innovation was just a little bit too middle of the road.
Yeah.
And Super was able to crush him with that attack. He also didn't seem to be as concerned about the force fields there when that came up.
That's true.
I mean, by the time that last Colossus died, everything that was on the Protoss side of the force fields was dead.
Yeah. He kind of ignored the Vikings.
Better off, yeah, just blasting the Vikings with the Colossus and just buying time and winning long run. Anyways, we're going to go to game number 2 here between Super and Innovation. The winner goes on to our third best of 3.